Can you believe what you just saw? We have a champion.
Welcome once again to the best of Combate Global here on Fuse TV. I am Max Bretos. There is Alex Wendling. Alex, I got some big news for you and for everyone listening in. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Mexico versus Japan inside the Jaula coming your way very soon. And this is, of course, when you think of Mexico, you think of Japan. They love to fight, but they're very different.
It's classic, it's iconic. Samurais versus the Aztec warriors, giving it all every time they enter La Jaula.
You think of all the great, you think of the great promotions in Japan that have pushed MMA and fighting, and of course Mexico and the great fighting and boxing traditions. We saw that inside the Jaula in the first edition back in May of 2023, and I think that got people really pumped.
Yes, Ana Palacios bringing her karate skills, mixing it in with the jiu-jitsu, but then the wrestling of Chihiro Sawada. It was a work of art inside La Jaula.
So we'll get forward to looking at the sequel, but first, all the very best from the first edition of Mexico, Japan. There is Chihiro Sawada representing Japan in this Mexico versus Japan challenge, and Ana Palacios. Highly anticipated matchup here, Alex, in the atomweight division.
And I think both these two knew that they were going up against their toughest test to date. Look how serious both their faces are here, just ready to let it fly. And like you said in the beginning of the show, the Japanese fighters, they're very calculated. So we see her not coming forward so much, just playing really, really calculated game.
Ana Palacios in red, and as we've talked about in Combate, you're fighting for yourself, you're fighting for your country. Here you're fighting for yourself, your country, and your company. So, a lot of pride at stakes, 3 times the pride. As you want to make Campbell and the company happy with the victory. That's exactly what we do. So pressure for Ana and certainly Chihiro, who's with Shuto, and defending the Japanese style of fighting.
And immediately Chihiro Sawada goes in for a double leg takedown, gets Ana Palacios to her back. But here we see that Ana Palacios actually has Chihiro in her guard, which basically means that her legs are wrapped around her, which is an advantageous position for all the jiu-jitsu practitioners out there. You have some offense that you could do off of your back, but when you have the ground and pound coming from someone strong and built like Chihiro, it's not the most fun position to be with if you're not getting those submissions off. Sawada
starting to tee off with Palacios on her back. Sawada training in Irvine, California for this one with Team Oyama. Training with the likes of Carla Esparza, so really taking this very seriously. And you have to when you're fighting Ana Palacios, who has been such a warrior. The Guerrera, certainly in Combate, with a lengthy winning streak between 2019 and 2022, where she fired off 5 straight wins with Combate.
And here we see Ana Palacios attempting to set up a triangle armbar, and we see a little bendage of that arm. Chihiro Sawada, obviously, it's going to take a lot for her to tap. But just the transitions that we see from Ana Palacios is some textbook jiu-jitsu that they're teaching over there at Bone Breakers MMA in the city of Mexico. So it's so neat to see how crafty Ana Palacios gets, because the normal person might look at this fight and be like, oh, things aren't looking good for Ana Palacios. Meanwhile, she just almost chokes Chihiro there.
Chihiro, who, in addition to Shuto, also with 1 championship, so she has fought at very high levels. Now here at Combate Global, she has been tremendous. Undefeated fighter coming in to this fight with Ana Palacios.
Yeah, she has a wrestling pedigree. Her brother is the one that got her into combat sports. So when you have an older brother that's kind of guiding you and able to bully you, rough you up a little bit, you know that you're going to be tough when it comes to fighting girls your size.
This is both fighters with lengthy winning streaks coming into this. And we know and we've seen what Ana Palacios is capable of, but this is without question a huge step up in class. Sawada is an elite fighter, not just at 105, but any of these rankings in the women's divisions. Very, very talented.
And Chihiro came into this fight letting us know in the interview that she knows Ana Palacios can take a hit. So if she hits her once, she knows that she has to keep the combinations going. And again, getting the takedown here. You see Ana Palacios keeping the composure though. And it's always fun to see the up kicks, because you always think, oh, I'm gonna rush onto my opponent. Well, that's where they can sneak up on you and get a nice foot to the chin there.
You can't tell here, Alex, but Ana Palacios is the taller fighter, probably for the first time in her career. She's 5 feet tall. She's an inch taller than Sawada, 4 feet 11.
And they both are just tiny human beings, and it's amazing what they're able to do.
Yeah, their skills are not tiny, and their courage neither.
And again, we're back to the similar scenario that we've seen throughout this match. Ana Palacios on her back, trying to work that guard game. But again, sometimes that jiu-jitsu threat gets nullified when you have strong ground and pound, heavy top pressure. And that's what Chihiro Sawada brings as a wrestler. She knows how to use her body weight to really control her opponents. But here again, we're seeing back to the feet. That, I think, is where it gets the most interesting, because both these girls like to grapple.
Sawada really impressive, always going forward. This is round 2 action in a matchup that would go the full decision. But as we head to round 3, the pressure on Palacios, she's got to finish this.
Yeah, and we have open scoring at Combate Global, so both of these girls know what they have to do in the final rounds to get the win. Ana Palacios is at the point where she knows she has to get the submission here if she wants to get the win. But now these two are just teeing off on the feet. And I feel like that's a very interesting thing about Combate Global, having that open scoring so that you can really focus on what needs to get done in order to get the win.
You're seeing that wrestling base from Sawada, whose brother also a professional MMA fighter.
And here we're looking at an attempted guillotine from Ana Palacios, but because Sawada was able to get to side control on that, Ana Palacios actually became able to get Von Flue choked. So that's the danger of sometimes those guillotines. But again, we're just seeing all around pressure from Chihiro Sawada here, really controlling everything on top.
Now almost into the full mount, but just got in that leg trap. This Palacios side control, dominating stuff from Sawada, but you got to respect Palacios' perseverance as Sawada takes the back.
I can't even imagine how tired they both must be, but yeah, when you start to flatten out your opponent like that and you lay some ground and pound, you got to avoid the back of the head. That'll get you disqualified, but if you're laying down solid ground and pound off the back, in the judge's eyes, you know, you're getting the nod. Wow, Ana Palacios is tough for riding this one out.
She knows it, probably the fight getting away from her with the final seconds of this final round, but what an opponent. What a learning lesson, too, for Ana Palacios. Sometimes you improve with victory. Sometimes you improve with an experience like this.
Sometimes you're the hammer, other times you're the nail. And in this particular situation, with all that ground and pound, she is quite literally the nail. But yeah, like you said, you learn so much from these situations on what you need to work on. And I think Ana Palacios took a lot away from this.
There you see the decision. It is unanimous in favor of Sawada. Tough one for Ana Palacios, but we will see more of her ahead on the Best of Combate Global later in the program, and she's looking to bounce back. Sawada impressive. Don't go anywhere. We're here on Fuse TV. Welcome back to the Best of Combate Global, and we're talking about Mexico versus Japan, an event we saw in 2023. We're going to see it again. This is a great opportunity for our fighters at Combate Global to fight fighters from a whole different world.
Yeah, I mean, country pride is such a big thing for Combate Global in general, whether it's Japan versus Mexico, Uruguay versus Mexico. They come in with such respect for their country and the people that they represent. So there's definitely a lot on the line. It's bigger than themselves every time they enter La Jaula.
I'm glad you brought up Uruguay, because one of the top fighters of Combate Global, Ramiro El Cachanilla Jimenez. How high do we rate him? Is he at the top? Undefeated fighter?
It's not official that he's #1, but he's definitely looked at as the guy to beat, especially after a crazy win from Copa Combate 2023. So he has a target on his back for sure.
Yeah, I have him #1 in my unofficial list. But
yeah, that counts for a lot here too.
He had a test from a Uruguayan fighter, Nico Barna, the mini Hulka. What do we know about him?
Nico Barna obviously coming into this fight with a lot of confidence. I mean, you got to have confidence when you're going in against someone that's undefeated, a Mexican with a very come-forward style. So he was ready to leave it all on the line. But again, this was one of Ramiro's best performances.
And you get to see it right now here on the Best of Combate Global. Jimenez, Barna. There is Mini Hulk. Nicolas Barna representing Montevideo, Uruguay. And lots of fans from his home country to cheer him on. Pretty impressive credentials coming into this fight, and a big task against Cachanilla.
Yes, Mexicali represent. He is hype and ready to go. And always bringing the action inside the cage. You gotta love the energy from the people in the crowd. Some folks over there from Goat Shed supporting their star fighter, Ramiro Jimenez, who also trains out of Maranta Gym in Mexicali. Shout out Coach Eli, his coach since he was 15 years old, really bringing him up in this game.
Barna, 7-2 coming into this fight. Ramiro Jimenez 6-0, and we can see it grow. Remember, he saw the big tournament matchup later that year where he would take it all the way to the finish line.
And right out the gate, we see a southpaw versus orthodox, which I think is something about Ramiro that makes him so interesting to watch. It throws off a lot of his opponents when he comes out in that southpaw stance, generating so much power from his left punch, which Nico Barna is starting to taste right off the bat within the first minute of this fight.
Just to be clear, Jimenez would later win the Copa Combate in a very impressive fashion. Huge couple years for this fighter that I think most people, some would argue, but most would agree, the #1 fighter pound for pound right now at Combate Global.
Top featherweight for sure. And it's crazy because these two could have aligned again at that Copa Combate tournament. And I talked to Nico, I was like, is there anyone in particular that you're worried about? And he kind of brushed off as if he wasn't so worried about Ramiro, but he knows, he's tasted the power of Ramiro before, so he knew that Ramiro was going to be one of the toughest ones in that tournament. And now a solid back hit straight to a takedown, though, for Nico Barna. But again, the wall work of Ramiro, immediately once he gets taken down, he scrambles to get the better of the position.
Excellent balance, able to throw a lot of different things the way from the fighter, with knockout power from Mexicali.
And a lot of people know Ramiro Jimenez as a striker, but he has worked on his wrestling, as we just saw, a body lock takedown to the floor, controlling his smaller opponent here. And now we're going to see what he chooses to do. I know he's feeling pretty confident on the feet, though, so we'll see if he even wants to stay here.
This is the Combate debut for Nico Barna.
And Nico Barna is a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, so we'll be able to see what his escape strategy is against a guy like Ramiro Jimenez. You do not want to stay under him for too long, because once that ground and pound starts to pour, it comes in bunches. And Ramiro Jimenez almost looking like he was trying to set up some type of front headlock choke there, but he's like, no, I'll just go back to pounding you down.
Trapping down that leg. What a huge win this would be for him if he's able to knock Ramiro Jimenez from the ranks of the undefeated. Think of Rafa Garcia, who came out of Mexicali prior to Jimenez, an incredible fighting town. There seems like a competition in Baja California where it's Tijuana, Rosarito, to see who produces the best fighters. And right now, Mexicali, I think, has the bragging rights, and a large part of it is because of El Cachanilla.
Yeah, and we just saw some good textbook jiu-jitsu from the Uruguayan using that purple belt moves. He tried to get a sweep, the cage got in the way, and now they're back up on the feet. And again, Nico is trying to go for a takedown of his own. But the defense of Ramiro is just so clean. Isolating an arm and looking for that Kimura grip that he actually won Copa Combate with against Tommy Garcia in the final.
Yeah, he had that Kimura to seal the deal. No one can compete with him. He's just so good. We're so excited to see what he has in store. This was part of that Mexico-Japan card back in May. We have the sequel coming up soon. Check your local listings here on Fuse TV for all the action.
And Combate Global is all about mucha más acción. So now we're going to get a lot of that here. Ramiro Jimenez measuring out his opponent with a solid knee and a hook to finish with a little dance to celebrate.
Baile!
Look at him go. Look at this perfectly placed. It's almost as if he didn't need the hook to follow up. Nico Barna was completely dazed. Right on the spot.
Technically, the punch would be the final blow, but give him credit for the flying knee.
That really woke him up, or put him to sleep, I should say.
The victory for Ramon El Cachanilla Jimenez. We'll see more of him, and the man inside the jaula, none other than Campbell McLaren, will join us next here in studio to talk about Mexico versus Japan. This is the best of Combate Global. Welcome back to the best of Combate Global. There he is, El Señor. Welcome back, Campbell McLaren.
Thanks. It's always good to be back. Love doing this Fuse show. Get to talk about fighting.
And we're talking about Mexico-Japan.
Mexico-Japan.
We know about the Mexican fighting game. We love Japan, thinking about Pride back in the day. I used to love the pro wrestling cards and the great Japanese audiences. Why did you figure this was going to be a good idea for Combate?
You know, I lived in Japan. Actually, my first job out of college, I worked as a photographer in Japan, lived there for a year, worked for Coca-Cola. Great. Got to see the country, got to understand the culture. If you like MMA, you know Japanese MMA. It's legendary, crazy stuff. Pride back in the day, great stuff. And Japanese MMA is so over the top. You know, I ripped off Pride, the ramp entrance that we use for La Jaula is a ripoff of the old Pride entrance.
Pro wrestling big there too. It's huge.
Of course, it's mixed. They mix the two the way we kind of keep wrestling and MMA separate in this country. Over there, they mix it. Guys wear masks and and there's the whole tradition of, just over the top showmanship. So I love it. And, we often say in Combate, you don't have to be Mexican to fight in Combate, but we like you to fight like a Mexican. Coming forward, trading punches, taking a punch to deliver to, all heart, toe-to-toe. Japanese have a different style of fighting, but it matches up well. It's a samurai spirit, but it's patience. Oh, gaijin, make a mistake. They're waiting. And so put this Mexican coming forward style versus the patient assassin samurai type style. It's a great matchup. And our last event, Mexico versus Japan, was just huge. It was just fantastic. We also sent a lot of fighters over to Japan. We've been doing that for a while. Claire Lopez goes over there. Frank Shamrock, the legendary MMA fighter, UFC fighter, Pride, and Strikeforce fighter. He said, Campbell, be careful. When you go over there, one time, I knocked the guy out. I still lost the fight. So maybe the judges are a little biased in favor of their own fighters, but we keep sending our folks over there. Claire Lopez has done very well. Kira Batara was our first fighter to go over there because they have atom weights. We have atom weights. As you know, we all think that's like the most exciting.
So entertaining.
You like the atom weights, right?
Yes, they're so fun to watch, so speedy. Bring the power. Bring the power.
105. So it's great. You know what? Last time I went, the food is great. A lot of great food cities in the world. Tokyo maybe on top.
Wow.
My last time there, they took me to a very famous sushi restaurant. And I speak a little Japanese. I lived there. I like sushi. They brought out an interesting looking sushi, the biggest, flattest pieces of sushi I've ever seen. And they said, horse. And I said, no raw horse. Thank you, no. I think I'll take a pass on the raw horse sushi.
Wow.
The rest of the stuff was good.
Good. Well, I'd give it a shot.
Would you?
No,
you would eat raw horse?
No, just don't tell me.
A lot of people eat
cooked
cooked horse in France, Spain.
No, I wouldn't. You're right.
Cuba, they do eat, but raw horse? I mean, I draw the line.
Okay. But do you draw the line on any of your ex-Twitter warfare going on Campbell Combate?
There are no lines drawn. Ongoing. There's only lines crossed.
Okay. Because I just so happen to have a few here that I wanted to share with you.
MMA Twitter is one of the weirdest, nastiest parts of Twitter, and there's some nasty parts, yo. And, I've been on it, 10 or 11 years, and I fight with everyone because, I don't know, it's like they did a want ad. They did like a job listing. Are you a moron? If you are a moron, you should sign up for MMA X.
This is from Keith Schillen. Instead of constantly crying about not getting coverage from the media, how about creating a product worth covering? Find talented fighters and fighters with compelling stories, although he does say he's not saying that about your promotion.
I think he just proves there he's a moron. So, but by the way, this product that he says is not compelling, our last show did 800,000 live viewers. So someone likes it. Keith, get a job.
This is a bit of a backhander, but a positive one from Cody Merrow. Not gonna lie, Campbell, sometimes I think you post some wild out-of-pocket blank, but you're entertaining for sure. Kudos to you for swimming in the swamp.
Wow. That's John Anik's production assistant, I think. So at least he says, some nice stuff. Shout out, J.A.
Look, he's a loss for words.
I'm not ready for a compliment. Tell John I said hi. I'm a big fan.
This was short and sweet from Florida Man. It's got the Pinocchio emoji and it says delusional old fart.
Nice. So
I can't read these.
I'll take delusional. I'll take delusional. Yes. You have to be delusional to run an MMA organization, by the way.
Are you familiar with the MMA foo?
Oh, yes, I know.
Wahaha, wait. Don't read mine, Hefe.
Foo, I got your back. Don't worry. I know you got mine. MMA Foo.
I can't read these. Someone said that you look like Bernie Sanders. Someone says you look like SpongeBob's grandpa. Grandma, I don't know.
I love the SpongeBob grandmother. That's excellent. Who lives in the, how does it go? Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? SpongeBob SquarePants. I'm down with the sponge.
Real quick here. We're up against the clock. From Zed Slipperman.
Why are we up against the clock?
MMA Productions has it outperformed other sports content?
MMA Productions has it, what? I don't even know what that means.
Okay, I don't even.
Once again, morons.
I know. Well,
you got another one? Come on. We got time for one more.
It's the same ensemble every week. I've told you this before, but you come off as an extremely bitter and vindictive.
I am. So I guess I'm getting a message across. Thanks, MMA. Campbell Combate on Twitter. I will respond to you. I will answer your stupid questions.
We're back here on the Best of Combate, and we heard Campbell McLaren talk about that Japanese style, how it can be very defensive, and then they strike with the counterattack. We'll get a chance to see it here as the Best of Japan faces the Best of Combate.
Yeah, some of the best knockouts come from that counter strike, coming from a lot of calculated techniques from the Japanese side, but then we also get the Chileno, Victor Valenzuela, coming forward, showing that Chilean background.
Anzai Valenzuela coming your way next. Here we are inside the Jaula. It is Mexico versus Japan. There is Shinsho Ansai, who's been fighting since he's been fighting for a long time, 2009. Nicknamed Animal.
Yeah, he definitely brings that animalistic nature inside the cage. A very, very fun fighter, but in his way is Victor Valenzuela of Chile. And this man, he's called Psychosis because he is a psycho. He brings that crazy psycho energy in his fight style. It's so entertaining to watch.
They asked Victor, why do they call you Psychosis? And he said, well, crazy.
Yeah, he definitely is. He has a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, brown belt in karate, and a black belt in kickboxing. So we're going to see a lot of that striking pedigree in this fight. And these two are both big, strong welterweights. The welterweight division, another really fun one in Combate Global. And a lot of competition that we could go from here. So whoever has a dominant performance in this match could be calling out a top name.
As well, a big 170-pounder. Part of that growing contingent that's coming out of Chile. They're in the southern cone of South America, that they have some good gyms there. It's always building. And as he catches Ansai in his last fight prior to this fought Michael Venom Page, pretty renowned fighter in the mixed martial arts scene. So he's very accomplished, seen some really good styles before approaching the matchup here against Valenzuela.
Yeah, Michael Venom Page bringing awesome karate skills in. So he's probably feeling very confident going up against a guy like Victor Valenzuela, who doesn't have the reach of an MVP, but he does bring in that karate skill. And we're seeing some solid overhand rights, especially off the break when they get into those clinch positions. But again, these guys are powerful guys. They'll throw haymakers when they get a little bit tired, but for the most part, it's just super technical striking between both of them.
Valenzuela, we talked about the pressure representing the company, said he's felt the responsibility representing Combate Global in this fight. So important. It leaves a huge mark if you could say, I fought for Combate and I won for them. And he is peppering away at Anzai.
Solid. Everything from his overhand rights, his overhand elbows, they are coming in hot, and that just goes to show the art of 8 limbs always proves strong. I mean, getting punched in the face is one thing, but when you get elbowed or kneed, that's a whole nother level of pain. Solid single leg attempt from Shinsho Anzai here. He's leaving his head on the outside, though. Could leave him vulnerable for a headlock position that we just saw. And off of that headlock position, we're seeing Victor Valenzuela throw in a few knees there. Again, off the break. Beautiful work.
Good hit to the body upstairs. Huge volume of strikes here.
Wow.
Back to the body again.
He is starting to unload. Oof. He feels like he could probably finish this. Getting a little confident here.
Referee told...
But he gets caught!
Oh, and he
gets caught again with another right!
The referee was going to stop the fight, and moments later, Ansai hits Valenzuela
Backs him up a little bit. Yeah, wants some respect. It's almost like he was playing dead. He was playing possum, and he wanted to just land the perfect hit.
Well,
what a first round.
you could play possum, but if the referee is that close to stopping the fight, as you can see, Valenzuela worse for wear in this matchup. Quite the chin, quite the cheekbones from Ansai. He can take a lot of punishment.
He's so willing to just get in there and get hit in order to get his punches off there. That's what I love to see. And Campbell compared the Chileans to fighting like Mexicans, and we're seeing that with this come-forward style, and now this ground and pound. Not a fun position.
Another warning from the ref. Ansai, who used to fight back in Pancrase in Japan back in the day.
Wow, that's OG.
Yeah, then UFC, I mean, a really decorated resume in the fight game. Bellator everywhere before finding his way here in this Mexico versus Japan. And again, Valenzuela is Chilean.
Check out those short elbows from Victor Valenzuela.
Lots of blood.
And the animal is just tough, taking it, but he's gonna have to get active, try to get out of this position, or the referee could call it off. Even if he's still fully awake and taking damage and being tough about it, he needs to actively try to get out of these bad positions and get back in the game.
Training out of Miami, Valenzuela. Impressive first round, and he's doing much more of the same in round number 2.
Beautiful ground and pound from the Chileno. Now just using that body weight to control this matchup. Really letting the ground and pound come down. The referee's letting him know that he does not have much longer.
Third time the referee thought about stopping it, and this time he ends it. And Valenzuela, impressive on the ground, standing up.
Bloodied up slightly, but still getting the win.
Second round TKO victory for Victor Valenzuela. We are here on the Best of Combate Global. When we return, we will profile Ana Palacios, and that man inside the howler, Campbell McLaren, joins us here at the desk to talk much more. We are back here on the Best of Combate Global on Fuse TV. Earlier in the show, we saw Ana Palacios as part of Mexico, Japan. She lost that fight, but one thing we know about Ana, she always bounces back. She has been one of our favorites. She's been fighting with Combate since 2019, just a staple of this company, and we know never underestimate her.
Yeah, La Guerrera for a reason. Yes, she came up short against Chihiro Sawada in the Japan versus Mexico showdown, but we know that she's going to make a big return back. And Ana Palacios, she trains out of Bone Breakers, and we've seen her inside La Jaula break a few bones with that nasty armbar that she has. So she is always a fun one to watch. An exciting atomweight, and an atomweight that we get to enjoy because we partner with Risen every now and then, who also has an atomweight division. So Combate Global gives the stage for these atomweight athletes, the stage to perform on. It's a beautiful thing to watch.
Watching these atomweights in action is really remarkable because when you see them in person, I mean, they're 5 feet,
so
4
tiny.
feet 11. They're really pleasant, and then you see them just go crazy inside the howler. They have just got a spirit and a tenacity that's really hard to describe.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to see how they can adapt their game to their size. And that's why you see so many submissions at the atomweight level, because you don't really need a whole lot of weight. You just need a good angle when it comes to the jiu-jitsu. So Ana Palacios is a perfect case for that.
Yeah, we love Ana Palacios, and now you get a closer look as we profile the Combate fighter.
Hola, soy Ana La Guerrera Palacios, tengo 25 años y vengo de Tecámac, Estado de México. Me dicen La Guerrera porque cuando nací tuve un pequeño problema en el que mi madre o yo podíamos perder la vida por incompetencia médica, y a partir de ahí los doctores dijeron que pues podría sufrir alguna especie de retraso o que iba a poder estar un poco limitada. Pero yo les demostré que no, que eso no era impedimento, y desde ahí me dicen La Guerrera. Yo comienzo entrenando karate desde los 9 años y eso me llevó a conocer el MMA, y después empecé a competir y me gustó y aquí estamos. Yo siento que soy una peleadora muy completa y me gusta mucho trabajar el striking y me gusta mucho trabajar el piso. Siempre me estoy actualizando y eso es algo que me identifica como peleadora. Para mí pertenecer al equipo de Bone Breakers es algo increíble porque es un equipo que demuestra que siempre va a estar ahí apoyándote. Y es un equipo que te ayuda a trabajar en aquello en lo que no te sientes tan completo.
Ana
En mi pelea anterior contra Anastasia, la verdad es que sentí que no di lo mejor de mí, me sentía un poco incómoda a la hora de la pelea, razones pues ajenas, no sé realmente qué pasó. De esa última pelea aprendí que no solo es importante trabajar la parte física y técnica para una pelea, sino que el entrenamiento mental, el ir bien enfocado, el meditar para descansar correctamente y demás, también son partes importantísimas en la preparación de un peleador. Entonces, pues es algo que estuve desarrollando y por lo que me siento mucho mejor en esta ocasión.
Ana, la guerrera Palacio.
Cunningham goes down instead. Now Palacios, this is where he wants to be. Pivot. Down to the forearm. Gets the mount. Now Palacios, this is where it doesn't matter. She comes in and she got caught. Palacios looking to seal the deal here with her stand-up game.
Nicely done by Gloria Bravo and Ana Palacios with the whirling Kurdish takedown. That was beautiful. As we know, Ana Palacios gets back to work here. Also, referee will stand back up, going for a key lock tap.
Tapped out. Wow. Incredible. She had that wrist control.
Mi movimiento favorito dentro de la jaula es la llave Mataleón, es de mis llaves favoritas. Para mí estar en el número 1 del ranking de combate es cumplir un sueño que vengo trabajando desde que empecé a pelear MMA. Realmente solo es trabajo constante y dedicación y espero pronto tener la oportunidad para pelear o disputar el cinturón de la categoría. Yo siempre lo he dicho y creo que es algo que me identifica, que yo no peleo por demostrar algo o porque alguien me lo diga, simplemente es algo que me apasiona realmente, es algo que me llena como persona y el estar arriba de la jaula es una emoción que disfruto muchísimo, entonces esa es la realidad del por qué regreso una y otra vez, porque para mí eso es algo inexplicable pero maravilloso al mismo tiempo.
We told you how tough Ana Palacios is, and worth mentioning after her defeat in Mexico versus Japan, she bounced back in a big way, winning her first fight of 2024 against Melissa Gomez via submission. Speaking of, Alex, are you ready?
I'm definitely very ready. Breaking bones and also putting people to sleep is like my favorite thing to do. So are you guys ready? That's the question.
You're going to see it firsthand. Alex will be inside the jaula to demonstrate the submission when we return here on the Best of Combate Global. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. As you can see, I am all alone here at the desk. That is because Alex Wendling has entered the jaula. She is going to show you the finer techniques of the submission.
Welcome back to the Best of Combate Global, where we've been having a lot of fun breaking down submissions inside La Jaula. But not always do submissions work. Sometimes the grip isn't right, sometimes your angle or position just isn't what you need to get the submission done. So I'm gonna bring in my friend over here, Christian, to help me break down a time where a guillotine choke was more of just a standstill in positioning between Geralbert Castillo and Yuji Epigova. Let's take a look at some of the action.
For Gilbert Castillo, nice double leg.
Usually not
finish.
No, he got
there it is.
Down. Yeah, real nicely put.
Yeah, right into side control. Castillo still hanging on to the head. A little bit of a rookie move there. No guard, no guillotine, but still holding on to the head. That cost you a lot of energy.
Yep. When you talk about history of Japan and Cuba and martial arts, you know, some Japanese went to Cuba, taught some karate. Heck, my coach, Cuban, taught karate from a Japanese, one of those hardcore, determined, if they came all the way over here to train to Cuba. And in judo, we got some exceptional judokos.
Great judo in Cuba, great judo in Japan, great wrestling in Cuba, great wrestling in Japan, great boxers out of both countries. But right now, by not letting go of the head, he's in Von Flutro. Loves it from this half guard position. He can do it, but it takes those long legs, takes that long build, and Efo definitely has that.
I'm liking Juji's fighting style. and it switches, right? He kind of has that taekwondo-ish type of stance, and he'll flip it.
Now back to full guard. Here's where the guillotine can work. Going hard for it is Castillo. Trying to take it home with him.
There it is. Okay, that's a better shot there, Jimmy.
Hey, you see the calm on the face.
The chin is...
Definitely all right. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Giving our camera the thumbs up and the referee.
And that right there is going to exhaust that right arm.
Rodolfo, you said it perfectly. The problem with the guillotine, you don't get it, you are out of gas.
So in the exchange between Geralbert and Yuji Epagova, there was a double leg takedown attempt. And again, it's leaving your head on the outside that will get people to try to get you in a front headlock position. So he shoots and he tries to take down his opponent. And now we're into this guillotine-like position. But the problem with this position, and this is actually a way that you can defend this position, is by getting to either side of your opponent. So if he has me in a front headlock here, the way I can alienate this is by putting shoulder pressure onto him myself and then just trying to free my head and get into side control. But if he has that guillotine position and we get into a situation that Yuji ended up getting in and he gets his guard back, now I'm in a little bit of trouble. But a lot of times some of these fighters kind of just hold the head. They're looking for the submission, but they don't have the proper grip that they need. So what we were seeing with Yuji is he's here, Geralbert's using all his strength, he's trying to get it, but Yuji literally goes like this to the ref like, hey, I'm okay, I'm okay here. And basically is able to just squeeze his head out and escape that guillotine threat. But the proper thing that he would want to do to really make sure that there's no danger is try to break his guard, put this shoulder pressure down, and make sure that he can get to side control. And now he can even move into his own submissions. One thing that people need to look out for is if they hold on to the guillotine position for too long, they can end up getting Von Flue choke themselves. So there was different offense that Yuji could have went to do, but instead he just escapes and gets into that side control position. Yuji Epagova getting it done against Geralbert Castillo, but we have some amazing submissions that we'll be breaking down. But again, they don't work all the time, so we'll be bringing you guys much more action in the upcoming episodes, so stay tuned.
We are back. Earlier in the show, we talked about Ramiro Jimenez, who we will talk about in a little bit. But
Mexico versus Japan 2.
Clearly wants to talk about Mexico versus Japan 2. Coming July 27th. We all love a sequel. Why is this such a big deal?
I love this. I love this because some of our shows, Mexico versus Ireland is a blast, right? The guys and girls fight the same way. It's like a bar fight. It's the greatest. Mexico versus Japan is different. And Mexican fighters, we talk about the Mexican style of fighting, toe-to-toe, trading punches, taking one to give two, never backing down. That describes a lot of Hispanic fighting, particularly Mexican. Japanese fighters are very different, but equally committed to winning. They don't back down, but they're very patient. Oh, Gaijin, make a mistake and I rip your heart out. So when you put these two together, it's fantastic, right? And when we saw it before, and there's also this is our tribute to Japanese MMA, which is always over the top crazy, right? And so I love doing this. We've done it once a year. It's live on TV in Japan. It's on Abema TV, and they do a documentary about the fighters they're sending over. So it's like a 10-week build-up in Japan, and then boom, back in the howler. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. We were talking about Ramiro Jimenez. We want to know where he ranks, right, Alex? Where does he rank?
Go ahead, because I want to talk about him too.
He's definitely a top fighter after winning Copa Combate in 2023. He has that target on his back in the featherweight division, 10-0, 7 of those wins coming by finish. So a lot of people want to challenge him, but not always the best matchup against Ramiro Jimenez.
Is he the best? Certainly, I think in our division, 145, is he the best pound for pound? I'd have to think about that, but certainly he's a very dangerous fighter. He's a very strategic fighter. He's a bit of a headhunter. He really can clock your style. He can really see where you're going. And I think what's happening with him in Combate, a lot of new fighters, young fighters, people getting their pro debut, we're careful with who we match them up. You want to bring a fighter along, bring out their best skills and talents, and not have them be, go up against someone that has many more fights than they do. With Ramiro, we're past that now. He's in a position where we need to find someone to beat him. And I hate when people go, oh, fighters are scared to fight someone. They're not scared. They fight for a living. They get kicked in the head for a living. The way they spar is scary. But a lot of fighters strategically will go, that's not a good matchup for me. I don't think really I want that. You say, they don't want that smoke. Nah, smoke gets in your eyes. Listen, you got to figure out a way to beat a guy like Ramiro. And it's not really apparent how you can do it. He's got a lot of skills. He's got a lot of power. I think, yeah, I'm looking forward to the Japanese fighter that steps into La Jaula.
To face him, and we've got some footage of Ramiro training here. And from Mexicali, El Cachanilla. This is a great fighting town. And it's shaped a lot about who Ramiro Jimenez is.
We've had a lot of great fighters from Mexicali. And I think, people go, when you go to Mexico, don't drink the water. I think you go to Mexicali, drink all the water, take a bath, pour it on your head, because there's something in the water. Border towns are tough places. They're tough places to grow up. You got one foot in the U.S., one foot in Mexico, and a lot of crap goes between those two places. And I think it just sort of breeds a fighter that really is ready to throw down at any moment.
Small town, big heart, for sure.
Small, dangerous town, big gun.
And you'll get to see Ramiro. He's a big-time talent, and we'll see him here in 2024. Very excited to see all the fighters. We're super excited about Mexico versus Japan Dos. The sequel coming your way July 27th. We can't talk any more about it now because we're out of time. Alex Wendling, Campbell McLaren, I am Max Bretos. We'll see you here on the Best of Combate Global on Fuse TV.